This is grade 5, module 3, lesson 9, and this objective is to add fractions making like units numerically. So we're not using the rectangular fraction model for these. We're going to be just multiplying the numerator and denominators by some form of 1. So I'm going to be using question number 1, and this is letter E, and I'll do both E and F for this example. So we have 1/3, and we're adding 1/3 plus 7/5. To find a common denominator, we're actually going to multiply the denominators this way. So I have 1/3, and I'm going to multiply that by 5/5, which is actually equal to 1. So it doesn't change the value of 1/3. It's just so we can find the common denominator. And we're adding 7/5, and we're multiplying that by 3/3. Again, 3/3 is equal to 1. It doesn't change the value, so we're okay there. So it should look like this when you're multiplying 1/3 by 5/5 and multiplying 7/5 by 3/3. Eventually we'll get away from this step, but for right now we do want the students to show their work. They can show their thinking like this. When they solve both sets of parentheses, they'll get the fractions 5/15 plus 21/15. They can go ahead and solve that. The denominators are the same, so it's 26/15. So since the numerator is more than the denominator, that's called an improper fraction, and we're going to make this into a mixed number by making that 15/15 plus 11/15. And I got that using my 26 here. And that is equal to the whole number 1 and 11/15. So the answer would be 1 and 11/15 for part E. Okay, so now I'm going to work on F, and we're going to do the same strategy with this one as well. So I have 5/8. I'm going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 12. And that's because 12 is the denominator of what we're adding. So multiplying that by 8 over 8, and we're going to solve what's in the parentheses. So if you notice in this example for F, we get some very large fractions. We have 60/96 plus 56/96. So one of the other strategies they talked about in this lesson was to list the multiples for the given denominators and to see if you can find a common multiple. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we have 8 and we have 12, and just start to list the first couple multiples. So now which multiple do they have in common? And it is 24. So there's 8 times 3 is 24, and 12 times 2 is 24. That's going to make things a lot simpler. So let's set that up using 24 as our denominator. So in our parentheses, I have 5 times 3 over 8 times 3, and I'm using 3 because it was the third multiple, so it was 8 times 3 is 24. Remember, I'm trying to get a denominator of 24. So 5/8 is equivalent to 15/24. And now I'm adding, solving what's in these parentheses, it's 14, 7 times 2, and 12 times 2 is 24. Now we have common denominators. We can add those two together to get 29/24. So 29/24 again is an improper fraction because the numerator is larger than the denominator. We can rewrite this as 24 over 24 plus 5/24, which is equal to 1 and 5/24. The student wouldn't have got the same answer with the denominator of 96. They just would have had to simplify their fractions, and then again getting the correct answer of 1 and 5/24. The word problem that we're going to do for this homework is number 4, and number 4 reads, Joe spends 2/5 of his money on a jacket and 3/8 of his money on a shirt. He spends the rest on a pair of pants. What fraction of his money does he use to buy the pants? So we'll start with our target sentence. So the target sentence reads, Joe uses blank of his money to buy pants. We're going to add the money he spent on his jacket and the fraction of money he spent on the shirt. So it's 2/5 plus 3/8. Again, we need to find the common denominator. So again, multiplying the denominators, 5 times 8, you get a common denominator of 40. So 2/5 equivalent fraction becomes 16/40, and 3/8 becomes 15/40. And when I add those two together, I have 31/40. So 31/40 is not my answer. That's the fraction of money he spends on a jacket and a shirt. So we know that he spends the rest of the money on a pair of pants. So we're going to have to take the total amount of money, which is going to be 40 over 40, one whole, and we're subtracting 31 out of 40 to get the answer of 9/40. And 9/40 is what we're going to put in our target sentence here. So Joe uses 9/40 of his money to buy pants.